It all started on a quiet, sunny afternoon when Marcus and Taylor Banks arrived at a sleek, modern house in one of the city's most sought-after neighborhoods. Marcus, a tall and confident man dressed in a sharp black suit, opened the car door for his wife, Taylor, who looked effortlessly elegant in a flowing green dress and black heels. Their energy radiated sophistication as they walked toward the front door, their eyes fixed on the spacious house in front of them. Just as they reached the porch, a middle-aged woman with sharply styled red hair, clutching a clipboard and set of keys, stepped outside. The moment she saw them, her smile faded, and her eyes narrowed, casting a tense shadow over her face. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice clipped, her arms folded tightly across her chest. "We're here for the scheduled viewing," Taylor replied, offering a polite smile. The woman quickly glanced at her watch, then at her clipboard. "I don't have you on my list. The house is already taken." Marcus frowned, pulling out his phone to show the confirmation email. "We were supposed to meet at 2 p.m. We're a little late, but it shouldn't be an issue." The woman glanced at his phone briefly, her lips curling into a dismissive smirk. "This is unacceptable," she muttered. "The house is no longer available." Without another word, she spun around and slammed the door shut, leaving Marcus and Taylor standing on the porch bewildered. "Did that just happen?" Taylor asked, her voice calm but with an undercurrent of confusion. Marcus nodded, though his eyes were narrowed in thought. "Something doesn't sit right. Let's stick around and see if we can figure out what's going on." After getting back into the car, they waited. 20 minutes passed, and soon another car pulled up, this time a white family. They appeared more casually dressed than Marcus and Taylor, and the agent immediately greeted them with a warm handshake, opening the door with a welcoming smile. "Did you see that?" Marcus asked, his voice low. "Let's go find out what's happening," Taylor replied, her tone steady with a touch of curiosity. The couple exited the car once more, this time walking toward the house with purpose. As they neared the porch, they heard the agent laughing with a new family inside, showing them around the entryway. When she noticed Marcus and Taylor approaching, her smile faltered, and she quickly stepped outside, shutting the door behind her. "I told you," she said stiffly, her eyes flicking nervously to the family inside. "The house is reserved." "We just need an explanation," Marcus said, his voice even but firm. "Why are they allowed to view the house when you just told us it was no longer available?" The agent's jaw tightened as she glanced back at the family through the door. "They had an earlier appointment. You should look for another place," she said, her tone growing colder. "This house isn't right for you." Marcus's brow furrowed. "What do you mean by that?" he asked, his voice calm but laced with suspicion. They just don't fit the neighborhood," the agent stammered. "It's not a good match." Taylor's eyes narrowed. "So you're saying we don't belong here?" she asked, her voice cold as ice. The agent hesitated, her eyes shifting uncomfortably. "This neighborhood," she began, "has certain expectations. People like them don't usually fit in here." The tension in the air was palpable. Marcus, without saying another word, pulled out his phone and snapped a photo of the agent standing in front of the house. "What are you doing?" she demanded, her voice rising. "Documenting this," Marcus replied coolly. "I think your bosses might be interested in how you're handling client relations." The agent's face reddened, and she took a step back. She lowered her voice. "I didn't mean to offend you. I just thought this area was a little more selective." "Let's be clear," Taylor said, cutting her off. "Is this because of our race?" The agent opened her mouth to respond, but her words faltered. "I didn't," she stammered, but her voice was unsteady. Marcus stepped back, his hand on Taylor's shoulder. "We're leaving now, but we'll make sure the right people hear about this." Once in the car, Marcus quickly dialed a number. After a brief conversation, he turned to Taylor. "Stay here. Someone is on their way to sort this out." Taylor nodded, her eyes still focused on the house, her posture poised and calm. About 15 minutes later, a sleek black car pulled up. Out stepped a tall man in an impeccably tailored gray suit. His presence was commanding, and his purposeful stride spoke volumes. This was Jordan Simmons, an executive at the company that owned the agency. The agent, seeing him approach, went pale. She quickly adjusted her jacket and walked down the steps, forcing a nervous smile. Mr. Simmons, she said, her voice strained. What a surprise to see you here. Jordan nodded curtly, not acknowledging her further as he walked past her and toward Marcus and Taylor. My apologies for the inconvenience, he said, shaking Marcus's hand firmly. I had to clear my schedule to handle this personally. Thank you, Marcus replied. We've had an unpleasant experience here, and we wanted to make sure you knew about it firsthand. Jordan turned to the agent, his expression now chilling. Miss Clark, care to explain why you're turning away clients based on your assumptions? The agent's face turned an even deeper shade of red. She fumbled for words. I thought they wouldn't be a good fit for the property, she stammered, visibly sweating. Not a good fit? Jordan echoed, his tone icy. Do you realize that Marcus and Taylor Banks are the co-owners of this agency? The very company you work for? The agent's face drained of color. Co-owners? She whispered, her voice trembling. Yes, Jordan said sharply. You've just refused to show a house to the people who make decisions about the company's future. She staggered back, her hands shaking. I didn't know, she muttered, almost in disbelief. This is all a mistake. Marcus stepped forward, his demeanor unwavering. This isn't a mistake. This was a deliberate action, based on the prejudices you hold. That's unacceptable. Taylor added, her voice firm. You didn't just refuse to show us the house. You insulted us. Jordan's gaze hardened. Your actions have violated the agency's policies, and possibly the law. I'll be reporting this immediately. I didn't mean it, she protested, her voice breaking. Jordan shook his head. Your apologies won't undo what you've done, but we'll make sure this is dealt with properly. Turning to Marcus and Taylor, he offered a brief but genuine smile. Would you still like to see the house? Yes, we'd like that, Marcus replied, taking Taylor's hand. Together, they walked past the agent, who was left standing frozen on the porch, a symbol of her career's imminent collapse. Inside, Jordan led them through the house, pointing out the spacious rooms, the sunlit kitchen, and the cozy living areas. It was everything they'd dreamed of. Taylor smiled, imagining the future, while Marcus thought about how they'd decorate their new office. The house is perfect, Marcus said confidently. It's definitely going to be ours. Jordan nodded. I'll make sure everything is in order for the paperwork. As they left, the agent was still standing on the porch, her face pale and her body tense. She tried to call after them, but no one stopped. I'm so sorry, she said weakly. Taylor glanced back at her, but only said, there's nothing left to say. As they walked to the car, Jordan spoke to the agent once more. Your termination is being processed. Inclusivity training will be mandatory for the whole office. This will not happen again. The following day, news of the incident went viral. Taylor posted about it on social media, not just to expose the discrimination, but also to emphasize the agency's mission to create a welcoming environment for everyone, no matter their background. The post quickly spread, sparking thousands of supportive messages from people across the country. This isn't just about us buying a house, Taylor wrote. This is about standing up against injustice and ensuring that no one ever feels unwelcome. The backlash was swift. The agent was fired, and the company faced intense public scrutiny. But what stood out was how Marcus and Taylor had handled the situation with dignity and strength. They had turned a painful experience into a platform for positive change. From that moment on, the Banks were seen not only as successful entrepreneurs, but also as tireless advocates for equality. Their story became a testament to how courage in the face of adversity can inspire change, while the agent's downfall served as a stark reminder of the damage that prejudice can cause, even in the most seemingly secure careers.